Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. Dexter stood in front of the full-length mirror. Gone was the pudgy, middle-aged man he'd grown accustomed to seeing. In his place stood a slimmer, more youthful figure with softer features. He ran his fingers through his shoulder-length hair, marveling at how it framed his face. The changes had been gradual at first, almost imperceptible. But now, 6 months into his new marriage with Gwen, the transformation was undeniable. "Honey, have you taken your vitamins yet?" Gwen's voice called from downstairs, interrupting his reverie. Dexter sighed, reaching for the array of colorful pills and capsules laid out on the dresser. "Just about to," he replied, popping them into his mouth and washing them down with a glass of water. As he made his way downstairs, the scent of steamed vegetables and grilled fish wafted through the air. Gwen stood at the kitchen counter, arranging their dinner plates with meticulous care. "There you are," she said, flashing him a bright smile. "How are you feeling today?" Dexter hesitated, unsure how to articulate the mix of emotions swirling inside him. "I'm good, I think. Just still getting used to all these changes." Gwen's eyes softened as she approached him, placing a gentle hand on his arm. "I know it's been an adjustment, but look at how far you've come. You're healthier than ever, and you look amazing." He nodded, grateful for her unwavering support. "I know, and I appreciate everything you've done for me. It's just, sometimes I barely recognize myself anymore." "Change can be scary," Gwen acknowledged, guiding him to the dining table. "But it can also be liberating. Have you thought any more about what we discussed last week?" Dexter's cheeks flushed as he recalled their conversation about embracing his new, more feminine appearance. "I have," he admitted, picking up his fork and pushing a piece of broccoli around his plate. "I'm still not sure if I'm ready for all of it, but maybe we could start small." Gwen's face lit up. "That's wonderful, Dex! What did you have in mind?" He took a deep breath, steeling himself. "I was thinking, maybe we could go shopping this weekend for some new clothes that fit better with my current shape." "Oh, honey, I'd love that," Gwen exclaimed, reaching across the table to squeeze his hand. "We'll make a day of it, and remember, there's no pressure. We'll go at your pace." As they ate their dinner, Dexter felt a mixture of anticipation and nervousness bubbling up inside him. He'd spent his entire life conforming to societal expectations of masculinity. The idea of consciously stepping outside those boundaries was both terrifying and oddly thrilling. The next morning, Dexter stood in front of his closet, frowning at the ill-fitting clothes that hung there. His once snug dress shirts now billowed around his slimmer frame, and his pants sagged in unflattering ways. With a resigned sigh, he pulled on the least baggy outfit he could find and headed to work. As he walked through the office, he couldn't shake the feeling that people were staring. Had they noticed the changes in his appearance? Were they judging him? He quickened his pace, keeping his head down as he made his way to his cubicle. "Dexter, do you have a moment?" He looked up to see Sandra from HR standing at his desk, her expression unreadable. His stomach dropped as he nodded, following her to a nearby conference room. Once inside, Sandra closed the door and turned to face him. "Dexter, I hope you know that we value you as an employee here. However, there have been some concerns raised about your changing appearance." Dexter felt his face grow hot. "Concerns?" he echoed, his voice barely above a whisper. Sandra's tone softened slightly. "Some of your colleagues have expressed confusion about your new look. We want to ensure that everyone feels comfortable in the workplace. Is there anything you'd like to share with us about what's going on?" For a moment, Dexter considered deflecting, making up some excuse about a medical condition, but as he looked at Sandra's expectant face, he found himself wanting to be honest. "I've been focusing on my health lately," he began, his voice gaining strength as he spoke. "My wife has me on a new diet and vitamin regimen. It's led to some unexpected changes, but I feel better than I have in years." Sandra nodded slowly. "I see. And the longer hair, the softer features? Is that part of this health journey as well? Dexter took a deep breath. It is. I'm still figuring things out myself, to be honest. But I'm not trying to make anyone uncomfortable. I'm still the same person, still dedicated to my work. After a pause that felt like an eternity, Sandra spoke. Thank you for your honesty, Dexter. We want to support you in this transition. If you need any accommodations or if you face any discrimination, please don't hesitate to come to us. As Dexter left the conference room, he felt a strange mix of relief and apprehension. He'd taken the first step in acknowledging his changes publicly, but what would this mean for his future at the company? The rest of the week passed in a blur of sideways glances and hushed conversations that stopped abruptly when he entered a room. By the time Saturday rolled around, Dexter was more than ready for a break from the office atmosphere. Ready to go? Gwen asked, jangling her car keys as Dexter finished his morning smoothie. He nodded, feeling a flutter of excitement despite his nerves. As they drove to the mall, Gwen chatted animatedly about the stores they could visit and the styles she thought would suit him. Their first stop was a boutique that specialized in androgynous fashion. Dexter hesitated at the entrance, eyeing the mannequins dressed in flowing blouses and fitted pants. We don't have to start here if you're not comfortable, Gwen reassured him, sensing his unease. Dexter squared his shoulders. No, it's okay. I want to try. Inside, a friendly sales associate approached them. Welcome. Can I help you find anything specific today? Gwen squeezed Dexter's hand encouragingly. He cleared his throat. I'm looking to update my wardrobe. Something that fits my new body shape better. The associate's smile never wavered. Of course. Let's start by taking some measurements, and then we can explore some options that might work for you. As they moved through the store, Dexter found himself warming up to the process. He tried on soft, drapey sweaters that accentuated his slimmer waist, and tailored blazers that gave him a more polished look without emphasizing his masculinity. In the dressing room, he slipped on a pair of high-waisted trousers and a silky blouse in a deep emerald green. When he emerged to show Gwen, her eyes widened. "Oh, Dex," she breathed. "You look incredible." Turning to face the mirror, Dexter was struck by his reflection. The outfit highlighted his new figure in a way that felt both flattering and authentic. For the first time in months, he felt truly comfortable in his own skin. They left the store with several bags, Dexter's heart light with a newfound sense of possibility. As they walked through the mall, he found himself paying more attention to the women's sections in various stores, noting styles and colors that appealed to him. You know, Gwen said casually as they passed a jewelry kiosk, if you wanted to get your ears pierced, that might be fun. Dexter paused, considering. A week ago, the suggestion would have seemed outlandish. Now, looking at the delicate earrings on display, he felt a spark of interest. Maybe, he said slowly. Not today, but I'll think about it. Gwen beamed at him, and Dexter felt a rush of gratitude for her unwavering support. As they drove home, bags of new clothes in the back seat, Dexter felt a sense of excitement about the week ahead. He was nervous about wearing his new outfits to work, but also eager to present a more authentic version of himself to the world. Monday morning arrived, and Dexter stood in front of his closet, running his hands over his new clothes. After a moment's hesitation, he selected a pair of slim-fit black pants and a loose, cream-colored blouse. He styled his hair carefully, allowing it to frame his face in soft waves. As he walked into the office, he braced himself for the reactions. There were a few double takes and whispers, but to his surprise, several colleagues complimented his new look. "Love the outfit, Dexter," his cubicle neighbor Melissa said with a warm smile. "That color really suits you." Throughout the day, Dexter found himself standing a little taller, feeling more confident in his skin. The clothes not only fit his body better, but also seemed to fit his evolving sense of self. During his lunch break, he received a text from Gwen. "How's it going? Proud of you for being true to yourself." Dexter smiled, typing back a quick response. better than I expected. Thank you for everything." As the weeks passed, Dexter continued to explore his new style, gradually incorporating more feminine elements into his wardrobe. He experimented with light makeup, learning to apply a subtle touch of mascara and lip gloss that enhanced his features without being overly noticeable. One Saturday morning, as Dexter was getting ready for a day out with Gwen, he paused in front of the mirror. His hair now fell past his shoulders in gentle waves, and his face had taken on a softer, more delicate appearance. The person staring back at him was a far cry from the man he'd been a year ago, but for the first time, Dexter felt like he was truly seeing himself. "Gwen!" he called out, his voice filled with a mix of nervousness and excitement. "I think I'm ready to get my ears pierced." Gwen appeared in the doorway, her face lighting up. "Really? Oh, Dex, that's wonderful. Are you sure?" Dexter nodded, a small smile playing on his lips. "I am. It feels like the right next step." They drove to a reputable piercing studio, Dexter's heart racing with anticipation. As the piercer explained the procedure and had him select a pair of simple silver studs, Dexter felt a sense of calm settle over him. The process was quick, just a sharp pinch in each earlobe. When it was done, Dexter examined his reflection in the mirror, admiring how the small, glinting studs complemented his features. "How do you feel?" Gwen asked, squeezing his hand. Dexter turned to her, his eyes shining. "I feel like me." As they left the studio, Dexter felt as though he'd crossed an invisible threshold. Each step in his transformation had brought him closer to a version of himself he'd never known existed, but now felt irrevocably right. The following Monday, Dexter walked into the office with his head held high, his new earrings catching the light. He'd chosen a flowy pastel blue top paired with tailored gray slacks, a look that balanced professionalism with his evolving style. To his surprise, Sandra from HR approached his desk mid-morning. "Dexter, do you have a moment to chat?" For a split second, anxiety gripped him. Had there been more complaints? Was his job in jeopardy? But as he followed Sandra to her office, he reminded himself that he had done nothing wrong. He was still the same dedicated employee he'd always been. Once they were seated, Sandra's expression softened. "Dexter, I wanted to check in with you. How have things been going since our last conversation?" Dexter took a deep breath. "Actually, they've been going well. I feel more comfortable and confident now that I'm dressing in a way that feels authentic to me. I hope it hasn't caused any issues?" Sandra shook her head. "Quite the opposite, actually. Several of your colleagues have approached me to express their admiration for your courage in being true to yourself. They've noted that you seem happier and more engaged at work." Relief washed over Dexter. That's wonderful to hear. I was worried about how my changes might be perceived." "We value diversity and inclusion here," Sandra assured him. "Your journey has actually inspired us to review our policies and ensure we're creating a welcoming environment for all gender expressions. We'd love your input on that, if you're willing." Dexter felt a surge of pride and purpose. "I'd be honored to help." As he left Sandra's office, Dexter felt as though a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Not only was he accepted at work, but he was being given an opportunity to make a positive impact for others who might be on similar journeys. Over the next few months, Dexter threw himself into helping develop new inclusivity guidelines for the company. He shared his experiences in sensitivity training sessions, helping his colleagues understand the complexities of gender identity and expression. At home, his relationship with Gwen continued to flourish. She remained his biggest supporter, always ready with encouragement or a listening ear when he needed it. Together, they explored new ways for Dexter to express himself, from experimenting with different hairstyles to trying out various fashion accessories. One evening, as they sat on the couch watching a movie, Gwen turned to Dexter with a thoughtful expression. "You know, Dex, I've been thinking, have you ever considered using different pronouns?" Dexter paused, considering the question. It wasn't something he'd given much thought to, but now that Gwen mentioned it, he realized it was a possibility he'd been subconsciously avoiding. I'm not sure," he admitted. I hadn't really thought about it. Do you think I should? Gwen shrugged, her smile warm and supportive.
It's entirely up to you, honey. I just want you to know that whatever you decide, I'm here for you. If you want to explore using she, her pronouns, or even they, them, I'm happy to help you figure it out.
Dexter felt a rush of emotion, grateful once again for Gwen's unwavering support. Thank you, he said softly. I think I might need some time to think about it, but I appreciate you bringing it up. Over the next few weeks, Dexter found himself paying more attention to pronouns, both in how others referred to him and in how he thought of himself. He began to notice a slight discomfort when male pronouns were used, a feeling he'd previously attributed to general unease with his changing appearance. One day at work, a new colleague mistakenly used she when referring to Dexter in a meeting. Instead of the embarrassment or discomfort he might have expected, Dexter felt a small thrill of rightness. That evening, he broached the subject with Gwen.
I've been thinking about what you said about pronouns,
he began hesitantly.
I think I might like to try using she, her pronouns, at least at home to start with.
Is that okay? Gwen's face lit up with joy and pride. Of course it's okay, sweetheart. It's more than okay. I'm so proud of you for exploring this. She pulled Dexter into a tight hug. So, should I start using she and her for you now? Dexter nodded, feeling a mix of nervousness and excitement. Yes, please. I'm not sure I'm ready to use it everywhere yet, but at home, I'd like that. All right then, Gwen said, her voice full of love. I'm so happy for her. My beautiful wife is on an incredible journey, and I'm honored to be by her side. Hearing Gwen use female pronouns sent a shiver of recognition through Dexter. It felt right in a way she hadn't expected, like puzzle pieces clicking into place. Over the next few weeks, Dexter, who was beginning to consider choosing a new name, grew more comfortable with female pronouns at home. She found herself smiling every time Gwen referred to her as she or her, each instance feeling like an affirmation of her true self. At work, Dexter still went by male pronouns, not quite ready to make that leap in her professional life. But she began to lay the groundwork, confiding in a few trusted colleagues and seeking advice from HR about the best way to approach a pronoun change at work. As spring turned to summer, Dexter's transformation continued, both externally and internally. Her hair now fell in long, glossy waves past her shoulders, and she'd grown more confident in her use of makeup, experimenting with subtle eyeshadows and lip colors. One warm Saturday morning, as Dexter stood in front of the mirror getting ready for a day out, she was struck by a sudden realization. The person staring back at her was no longer a stranger. For the first time in her life, she felt truly comfortable in her own skin. "Gwen!" she called out, her voice trembling with emotion. "Can you come here for a moment?" Gwen appeared in the doorway, concern etched on her face. "What is it, honey? Is everything okay?" Dexter turned to her wife, tears glistening in her eyes. I think I'm ready to be myself everywhere, not just at home. I want to use female pronouns at work to live as the woman I've discovered I am." Gwen's face broke into a radiant smile as she rushed forward to embrace her wife. "Oh, sweetheart, I'm so proud of you. You've come so far, and you're so brave." As they held each other, Dexter felt a sense of peace wash over her. The journey had been unexpected, filled with challenges and moments of doubt. But standing there in her wife's arms, she knew that she had finally found her true self.
"There's just one more thing,"
Dexter said softly, pulling back to look into Gwen's eyes. I think I'd like to choose a new name, one that fits who I am now." Gwen nodded encouragingly. "Of course. Do you have any ideas?" Dexter smiled, a hint of nervousness in her voice. "I was thinking, how do you feel about Evelyn? It means wished for child, and in a way that's what I feel like. The person I was always meant to be, finally coming into existence." "Evelyn," Gwen repeated, testing the name on her tongue. It's beautiful. It suits you perfectly. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more wonderful content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.